Sure.
So, the first thing that I'm going to say for our audience and for everyone tuning in today, first of all, a big thank you from myself and a big thank you to you, my friend, for joining our show today.
You're
And
welcome.
yes, it's an absolute pleasure. And what I'm going to say as well for our listeners, just so people know what's going on, is today we are going to be talking about all things conservation, specifically elephant conservation. And today's guest, Graff Innocent Phiri, am I saying that the right way with your last name? How do we
Is
say
it
it?
Piri?
Okay, okay.
Piri. Piri.
Phiri, Graff
Yeah.
Innocent Phiri. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Is today's guest, everyone. Today is episode 489 of the Simply Inspired podcast, and today I'm very, very honored to bring Graff Innocent Phiri to our show to share his amazing work saving elephants and his involvement in elephant conservation. Now, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be finding out more about how this works. First of all, with Graff's own story as to what drew him into the world of elephant conservation. But also, we're going to be talking about some of the bigger picture of elephant conservation and what is going on over there in different parts of Africa, really, not just what the news tells us. Now, we're
Yeah.
connecting around the world. As you can see, I'm out of doors, so there might be a little bit of wind noise, a little bit of background music, but fingers crossed it will be okay. And yes, my friend, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure as well to be on this show.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a joy. Now, as I mentioned, there might be a little bit of background music there. I don't know if you can hear that, but it should be okay to talk. Anyway, okay. So obviously, people will want to know about you. Before we get into the actual bigger picture of elephants and everything, I would like to know a little bit about where you grew up and where you're originally from. May
Yeah.
we start there with a little bit of background before you were ever working with elephants of where you come from originally, please. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So my name is Graff Innocent Phiri. I'm originally from Zambia, the eastern part of Zambia, near the national park called South Ruangwa National Park. So I've lived in my almost all my entire life. I've lived in a game management area where people and wildlife get to coexist. So you find that you get to, it is living with animals, it is something like wild animals, it is something that we do like daily. Yeah. So that's it, a
Okay.
little bit of it about me.
So you had experience with animals. That makes sense growing up there from a young age. Okay. But at what point in your life did the interest in actually saving animals and making a difference in this way actually come into your heart? Because, just because you're in a place, it doesn't always mean that you want to get involved and say, okay, I want to have a positive impact here. But you are a
Yeah.
person who has a very positive impact. So, what was your inspiration with that side in the beginning, please, my friend?
Yeah. So as for me, like my journey into wildlife conservation, like started like very simple when I was like in grade 5 of my primary school. So there's this organization called Shpembele Wildlife Education Trust. They usually like work on uh, in terms of conservation education. So conservation education, like they had a club, like conservation club in one of the school. By that time, I was at uh, Yosefe Primary School, which is the school which is in the eastern part of Zambia, uh, in the place, small town called Mfuwe, which is just adjacent to South Ruangwa National Park. So as time goes on, because as for me, sometimes for somebody like when you're a kid, you just join like some clubs just for fun, because maybe they take us to the national park, we get to see animals as time goes on. But I had like as time goes on, the interest started growing because we are learning a lot, learning about elephants. They used to take us for some camping, like 3 days camping in the bush. They teach us about what is actually going on in our environment and just getting to give us a different experience about wildlife. So as time goes on, like I completed my primary school, then I went to my high school. I continued with them, like doing the clubs as like extracurricular programs that I was doing in high school. So I completed my high school. Then there was this program called Aspiring Conservation Leaders. It is still the program which was like being led by Chipembele Wildlife Education Trust. So in that program now, it is mainly now they were teaching us the aspect of wildlife conservation and also just um, I was introduced that time. It is when by the end of that particular program, that is when I was like, I was called. There is a baby elephant that was like rescued, and the people, like the professional people who were supposed to take care of that particular elephant, were not like around and the like. So I was just the person like who was there. So I volunteered because from the start when I was starting my wildlife, when I was joining the clubs, my brother used to take me in the park, and I used just to like elephants. Yeah, there were lions and the like these other animals. But on the side, for me, the favorite animal, even my brother was reminding me, do you know that I used to take you to the park? And you used to tell me I just want to see elephants. When you see the elephants, you make the car stop for a long time just for you to just watch the elephants. So now something that like drove me directly into mainly me just jumping into wildlife conservation and elephant conservation specifically, it is the connection that I had with that baby elephant that I helped in rescuing. So the baby elephant was called, I am the one who even named it. It is called Wamwai in English. That's the local language. In English, it means like the lucky one. So I named that elephant Wamwai. It is because mainly that elephant was found in a place where poaching is happening most, and it was by chance that we even found that elephant like alive and like in a kind of good healthy, and we also helped it. So as I'm talking right now, that particular elephant like has graduated from just being an elephant orphanage, has graduated to one of the biggest national park in Zambia, which is Kafue National Park, to the release facility where that particular elephant can go back into the world and live as other elephants live, like normal wild elephant live. Yeah. So apparently, I've helped in rescuing like 3 baby elephants, though one didn't like last year. Oh, no, yeah, last year one didn't survive because mainly it is because it was a very very young elephant. It was like 2 weeks old. The umbilical cord was still open. That is something that made it difficult, and also because we changed the milk formula from the mother milk, now we start like making the baby formulas and the like. So didn't like the didn't catch up with that, because when a baby is just maybe born, it usually depends on mother's milk so that it can get stronger. Yeah. So far that is it about me and the things that I've done so far.
Amazing. Well, first of all, Graf, may I say to you something very important is you are a very eloquent speaker as well. And
Mm.
when you are describing the situations and working with the elephants, you make it a very vivid experience. And that will be very important for your future work when you are describing what's going on in your country to bring more people in. Because, like we're doing today, I think you will do work raising awareness in this way. So I want to say that you're a very eloquent speaker. Thank you for sharing it. Now, one of the topics I would like to touch on there, though, is when you're working with the elephants themselves.
Mm.
I've seen them in captivity, but I've never been close like what you're talking about from the babies. And maybe
Mm.
there's people listening to this who have never seen one. So, can you describe a little bit about their behavior and what they are actually like to work with? Because I think that a lot of people don't realize how intelligent elephants actually are and the level of awareness that they have and some of these kinds of things. So I know it's a slightly subjective thing where different people would work with them and notice different things. But in your experience, what are the elephants like to spend time with? Basically, that's the question.
So, like with my experience so far, like with the elephants that I've worked with, like because mainly I've worked with the small elephants, but from just that, I've realized like elephants are like 100%. I feel like on my end, I feel like they're 100% very intelligent than comparing to maybe other animals. So one example that I can give with my first rescue of maybe helping because I was doing that under Shipembe, like I was like more like helping to rescue that particular elephant and take care of it. That particular moment, I didn't have like 100% knowledge, like knowledge about elephant, like the in-deep knowledge about elephants and how they behave sometimes. So there was a time like the elephant, when we help when rescuing the elephant, you find that you need to feed it like every after 3 hours, you need to give it milk. Every after 3 hours, you need to give it milk. Doesn't matter whether it is dark, it is during the night or during the day, you just have to do that. But with that, they master the time when they have to be fed. You know, they master the time when to be fed. And apart from that, when the elephant gets connected to a person, like especially to me, the way I was connected to the first rescue that I help with, Wamai, you find that when I'm tired, I get to sit down. I'll sit down because we are like I was with it like 24/7. I'll get to sit down. The elephant will just come and touch my face, move in circles until it will just go on the side of me, and it will rest as well. It was like to go into a very, very deep sleep. And what makes that is mainly one, they get to trust somebody, like they get to trust somebody. Sometimes if they feel like somebody there's in the because we usually put them in the bomber when we just rescue them. When they feel like there's somebody whom like they don't know, they'll literally push them. They can even chase them away, all those kind of things. It's like it gets to know who you are. And if it feels safe in you, with you at that particular moment, it won't forget you. It will remember you for a long, long time. And mostly the elephants that I've worked with, mainly we don't put them in enclosures. Like it is not more of enclosures. It is like just an open space, but it is closed a little bit, and we call it a bomber. Why we're doing that, it is just like for their safety, because those elephants that are rescued, usually the elephants that we help with are those elephants that have been affected by human elephant conflict. If there is a human intervention, we are going to come in. If there is no human intervention, we are going to let the world handle itself, let nature handle itself. But if it is human related, because the first one was like it was the first elephant had dropped in the water hole. So because that is human activities. Then the second one, the mother was shot by poachers and it couldn't survive. Now the issue was mainly, should we leave the mother alone together with the baby, they both die, or we rescue a baby, then maybe put down the mother so that one of them should survive. So what happened was like Department of National Parks and Wildlife had to put down one and rescue the baby so that it can be fine, because the wound which the mother was having was very, very, very bad. Yeah.
Yeah. And that leads me to something very important to talk about today, my friend Graf, which is obviously the poaching aspect, because on the one hand, there's kind of like the light side and the dark side with this. And what I mean by that is there's people like yourself saving these beautiful animals, and then there's obviously people poaching them and coming after them. And I have some rudimentary understanding that in countries like Asia, they believe that the traditional medicine, that the ivory is effective for traditional medicine, which has obviously been extensively disproved. But
Mhm.
that belief seems to persist for some reason. Is that the primary reason why poachers are still active, or are there other reasons as to why people want to kill the elephants? Because I don't feel that people in other countries, like in my country, we understand always what's happening, and I would like to understand it better. So, in your experience, where are the poachers actually coming from, and why are they doing what they're doing?
So far, if I can break it down, there are two things that are happening. There are, one, there is poaching so that they can get money. Then there is human elephant conflict, which is on top of poaching. You see, so like I've
Yes.
said, I've grown up in a game management area. So in a game management area, you find that people we have to coexist with wildlife. And elephants are big animals. They get to move in different range. They move in a long distances to look for food. So as time goes on, like back in the days, like in 2006, 2005, somewhere there, because I've been there since those particular days, the conflict wasn't that much because one, the game management area had a lot of space, like a lot of pocket spaces where animals could pass, could move freely. But right now, since the population is growing, there's also infrastructures that are growing. As the population is growing as well, people are expanding agriculture spaces. So as those things are happening, you find that elephants still get to move those lanes that they used to move back in the days, because you find that elephants, they are being led by the matriarch. If the matriarch is still alive, they will still go in those places that they used to pass, like even 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Again, elephants get to pass the knowledge, you know. They are like us humans, where we get to pass knowledge, like this is where to get water, this is where to get food. They get to understand those particular aspects. But what usually happens right now is that since the most of the land has been occupied by agriculture activities, elephants get to move and do property damages, and do all sorts of things, which are currently affecting the human the livelihood of the people of the local communities. So if I can just give a simple example, right? You have a farm that you are expecting to harvest something that will maybe will feed you for the entire year. Then and here it comes. The elephant comes just in the night, destroy everything that you had. Will you love the elephants?
Well, I do love elephants, but in that situation, I can understand that, somebody has to feed their family and everything, and they have to feed their community and all of these things. So, the financial aspect of the damage to property or to crops, agriculture must, yes, I mean, it must be very bad. So,
Yeah,
obviously, you keep them in the Boma areas and you keep them all in these different enclosed areas. Maybe there's different names, but as the population continues to expand, Graf, people will want to know what do you see as the hope for the future? Because I love it, because just to give one context to this before you answer, I also love it because how old are you, if you don't mind me asking? What is your age?
no, I'm just 24. Like I'll be turning 25 this September. I'm just 24 years right
Okay, 24. There you go. I'm 27. Okay.
now.
So to put that in perspective, right? You see people who do great work for the environment, like Jane Goodall, for example, Dr. Jane Goodall. I
Yeah,
know that's with gorillas, but and she's whatever she is now, 90 years old, for example. Um, David Attenborough, Sir David Attenborough, has done a lot of things to raise
yeah,
awareness. Nearly 100 years old. So when they pass away, you think, okay, We need more people to carry the torch. And people like you are doing that. And I just want to say, I think it's a beautiful thing because obviously you have a long time to live, so you have a long time to do more of this good work. But also, like in our lifetime, we're going to see a lot more of these changes, right? So if we
Yeah.
look forward in time to this, where do you see, and I know this is a big question, so I'm sorry, but fundamentally, where do you see the hope of elephants surviving coming from primarily as the population gets bigger and all of these things happening?
So yeah, as on my end, because like I'm apparently working on the I've worked with different organizations, but right now like I'm still doing, like I'm in my final years of my degree. But what I'm like, where I'm seeing my hope, or the hope of elephant conservation mainly, is in the community engagement. Because I discovered, as far as I've worked with a different organization like Conservation South Luangwa, Game Management, or Game Rangers International, I've discovered that whatever we do, whatever conservation work we are supposed to do, if we don't engage the community, it is just a failure. And what usually happens if you don't engage the communities, you find the situation where the community perceive those organizations that are working on conservation or trying to conserve the wildlife that is within their communities as they are the ones who own those animals. Like their organizations are the ones, like they are the owners of all animals. But in the actual context, or in the actual sense, the owners of those animals are the community. The organizations are just like bystanders, like they just come in like the mediators, like who are trying to like to resolve the issues that are within. So where I'm seeing the hope mostly, even right now, like I have the merchandise that I'm working on, and also trying to like I'm also working, because the merchandise is more like a startup for me, which is called let's coexist with elephants. Then at the back, it is like let's conserve elephants. So what I'm trying to do with those merchandise is like I'm selling it to people, sending the information to people that we need to coexist with elephants, but also the funds. My hope with the funds that I'm trying to put together is to come up with a conservation innovation hub, which will be putting together the youths that of from for the local communities of Mufue or Lupande game management area, so that we can be coming up with our own mitigative solutions. Because if we involve the community and we come up with our own mitigative solutions to reduce the human elephant conflict, at the end of the day, even the community will own those particular solutions that we have. They will know where to get the raw materials to make their own mitigative solutions that are non-lethal, that cannot kill the elephants. So mostly, like on our end, you find that elephants just move in a free range. Like we don't have fences that are like are in cages or what. The only elephants that get to be in enclosures are the elephants that are being rescued, in terms of if they have issues with human elephant conflict, especially these young elephants. We are doing so because elephants take like 2 years to just conceive, to have a baby, and that is a long process. So if we get to let those babies that have been affected by human elephant conflict die, which means we are also contributing to the reduction of population of elephants will keep going down.
Absolutely. Yeah, it
Sure.
makes sense. It makes sense. Um, yeah, sorry, you froze there for a moment, but you're back. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and it's really important to educate people, because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, my primary kind of aim today is to raise the awareness, so the more of these kinds of topics we can get into, the better. I love your initiative. Let's coexist. Great name, and it's a great meaning behind it. How can people support that? And is it something that people can support from other countries and other places as well by buying the merchandise? Or please walk us through how people can support you with that, my friend Graff. Thank you.
So so far, because it is something that I just started this year, it is an initiative that was in part of the small project that I was doing for National Geographic and Nature Conservancy. So it is just like in a start. So if people want to like support me, I have my LinkedIn page where I get to kind of share all the things that I do. Reaching out to me mostly, it is something that they can do. So far I haven't like put together an account for that because I'm just starting. It is a startup, and like this, like in August, that is when I'll be like done with my degree, and my bachelor's degree is just focusing on reducing human elephant conflicts in Africa, so that we can get to live together with our big giants. So mainly reaching out to me and maybe supporting this small project that I've already started, because I know why I came up with the merchandise, and the bigger goal is coming is mainly having the conservation hub, like the youth conservation hub, that will be helping in coming up with mitigative solutions that will be helping in daily day, because elephants or other animals like lions, they get to, as time goes on, you put a mitigative solution today. Let's say you put an electric solar fence, an elephant will get to learn how to destroy that to get to the other side. But if we keep on changing, innovating, keep on changing the mitigative solutions that will help in that particular time, it will mainly help in terms of just not letting the elephant adapt to one particular solution that is there. That is the main goal of my
I
project that
understand.
I'm doing.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt then, but no, it makes a lot of sense, and the yes, the intelligence of the elephants, it makes a lot of sense. So okay, if this is like the startup and you're finishing your degree in August and everything, I mean, the best is yet to come with the work that you're doing. So it's also important, Graf, if we can mention please your social media as well, because people can connect with you on there. Obviously, we connected on LinkedIn. But I'm not sure actually if you're on Instagram, Facebook, some of these other things. But I would like to encourage people to follow you so that they can keep an eye on the next steps and then get involved when it's needed. So yes, the easiest way people can follow you personally, let's just give that a mention, please, like LinkedIn and those
Yeah.
things.
So on Facebook, like my name shows here, like Graff Innocent Phiri, you'll find me like that. Then on my LinkedIn, it is also like Graff Innocent Phiri. Then on TikTok, I have a page which is called Let's Coexist. Let's Coexist with Elephants. If you search that, then definitely you'll find me. I'm yet to put in a lot of content, but as I'll be done, and as I'll be going back home, because apparently like I'm in Rwanda, I'll be going home and I'll be doing a lot of videos about the communities, about the elephants, and how people are living with elephants and how they are coping, and actually the mitigative solutions that are happening, and my work that I usually do like into like daily life, so that people just get to know what is happening out there.
I understand. Oh, absolutely. It's the way of the future to share these things with social media and, yeah, using forums like TikTok. I definitely think there has to be that kind of awareness because there's a lot of people doing good work at all ages, but particularly for us, like the young people out there, we're going to be the next generation to make any kind of change. So the more
Sure.
people know about it, the better. And when I say that, it's no disrespect to the elders because they're doing good work
Yeah.
too. But then, like I said before, we will carry the torch forward. So, okay, so there's some good things there. One or two other topics I want to briefly mention, and then we'll wrap up fairly shortly. I forgot to ask earlier one other thing, Graf. When you're combating more the poaching aspect. Okay, so I know I touched on the, or you touched on the human elephant conflict, but particularly the
Mhm.
poaching aspect. Are they mostly people from the local community, or are they mostly people coming in from outside to come in and try to get the elephants that way? Where do they come from?
So what usually happened, the process is like this, right? You
Mm,
find that somebody from out of that community will come with a lot of money and convince maybe the locals, one of the locals, or two or four or five, like, I want these particular products, I want the ivory. When you get the ivory, I'm going to give you this particular money. So you find the locals now take a step and kill the elephants and sell those ivories to that particular person. Or maybe what will happen is like, okay, I'll give you the money for you to go in the bush, you get the ivory, you transport them maybe to near ports, which is like the port that is near, like the borders that are near to my place, like Mwami border, which is a border to Malawi. They will just export that. Once they export that to Malawi, then it's gone.
I see.
Then they'll just give them like not even a lot of money, because
Yeah,
I was studying, I was also studying like the ivory trade. It is a very big scam, like a big scam where locals get even like a very tiny money out of it. So that's why personally I would even just discourage. I'm discouraging that 100%. They are not getting anything. The fraction
yeah,
of the money that is being, even if ivory trade was allowed, the money that the local communities are getting out of that the sale isn't the money that they should get. So totally that is not okay. Because to be honest, local communities, if they get to kill animals, maybe they will kill like the small animals for, for just maybe consuming meat, meat, bush meat, and the like. That is what communities used to usually get if it is poaching, if we put it in the aspect of poaching. But the community killing an elephant just for ivory, there's always somebody in the back who usually wants to buy that.
I see. I see. So it's desperation from a certain perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the ways to combat then I can see on a larger scale is obviously if you're including education, job opportunities, and basically better resources in this sense for the local people, they would
Yeah.
be less tempted to take up the offer because the interesting thing there, Graf, is it sounds very similar to in my country the sale of illegal drugs. Is the fact
Mm-hmm.
that it's different, it's very different, but it's a similar mentality where people think that they can get into selling like these drugs, like cocaine or any of these MDMA, any of these things, and actually, if you add up the amount of money, it's very small, and it's
Yeah.
actually like less than minimum wage most of the time. But
Yeah.
they think it can supplement their income and everything, and it ends up usually destroying their life one way or another. And obviously, with
Yeah.
poaching, it's very much the same. So I understand. But then, if you were to have other work opportunities for them, it would help. Excuse me. So that's something very much for the future that perhaps we can develop because I've read, I think it was in the Elephant Whisperer, Lawrence Anthony is was a famous conservationist. He passed away. Um, about them putting the local people to work within the game reserves themselves. So it might be something that putting them to work within the protected areas. I don't always use the right terms. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
something for the future and it's something to raise people's awareness. I love the work you are doing with TikTok, with LinkedIn, with everything, sharing the message. And what I would like to do, Graf, I would like to keep in touch with you. So even if we do another one of these,
Mm-hmm.
like in a year or two or something when you're further down the road with this kind of work, I'd be happy to continue to support when you're when Let's Coexist is up and running, your startup and everything, when the ball is rolling, as we say, any of these types of things. I
Sure.
believe the future is very bright for you, and I believe that you're going to make some real change in the world. So yes, I would like to keep in touch. Today, we've given people a nice overview of your life and of why these things are happening. Now, I know there's a lot more we can go into, but it's enough
Yeah.
for people to be able to take on board, to take in, and to say, okay, I understand this. Maybe I can start to do something. And that's all I want to do today. It's just for people to wake up and think, okay, there's these beautiful creatures, they're in danger. Maybe I
Yeah.
can do something. And then in the future, though, I would love to talk with you again, and to go even deeper into some of these topics. Um, but if we're starting from scratch, which a lot of people starting from the beginning with their understanding, then today we've done a good job to that. Are there any other things that you're doing that you'd like to mention? Or also, are there any other people that you would like to thank, who are helping you in any of these projects, or just anything that we've missed, basically? Maybe we've covered everything, but if there's anything else you'd like to mention, please take that opportunity, and then we will wrap this up shortly. But
Yeah.
if there's any other things you're doing, please feel free to mention. But before we go, yes, if there's anything else you'd like to mention that you're doing that we haven't included, please mention it. If not, if we've covered everything already, it's absolutely fine. But if just in case there's anything else that you're doing or any other future plans that you'd like to mention, anything like that, we can talk about it, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, so mostly I can say we have covered a lot. We have covered almost everything. But like I've said, I'm also doing like conservation education as well, just on elephants. Just focusing on elephants. I know going deep into other animals it is kind of hard, but because elephants are like major species that are always on top of the conflict. That is mainly that is what I'm doing. That's why I even created the TikTok page just for that to be happening. So mainly I usually interact with kids because I love playing around with kids. And I know when I was starting my conservation journey, I started enjoying conservation when I was a kid. So it is always good, like teaching the kids, giving them like the best knowledge of conservation and the actual problems that are happening in the community. And why something that I kind of missed talk about is like why I also chose like to focus on elephant conservation is like it is something that is happening in my community. They always say charity begins at home, right? If I'm seeing the problem that is happening in my community, I need to solve it. I need to help the people understand what is really going on because most of them maybe they might just be seeing it in the negative way, but there is also another positive way we might solve these particular problems that we are facing. Yeah. So one last thing, I just it is always my pleasure to if you want like me to be part of this particular show. It is always my pleasure for me to share my knowledge, and I also want to say like thank you for your time. And also, I also want to say thank you to the people that are always sponsoring me for this particular program, which is Chipembele Wildlife Education Trust, mainly Anna Toran. She's from England, UK. I'm forgotten exactly, but she's always the person who has like believed in me, and my mentor who is Corey Jill. Sure. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very, very much, Graf, for the time for this, my friend. I really hope that we raise a bit more awareness for the beauty of elephants. And even though we've spoken today about all of the
Yeah.
practical applications of this, the other thing that you've mentioned very, very well is obviously working with the baby elephants and what it's actually like. Because I'm going to close out by saying that the love that animals in general have, and the purity that they exude and everything, when you've experienced it firsthand, it changes your life. And I really feel that we've done a good job of putting that message across as well. Because, I tell you something, I've seen the documentaries, I've seen elephants in enclosures, I've read like The Elephant Whisperer and some of these things, not the same as your experience. but even from that, you get a feeling about, like, the family unit of the elephants and the community and how intelligent they are, how they remember. And I've read about, like, the trauma of, some of the young elephants where their parents have been killed near them. And the trauma is very similar to a human. And it just touches your heart. And so today, we have raised some wonderful awareness for that. I want to thank you for coming on here, for sharing everything you shared, for being an open book. And of course, I will send this to you when it's released as well, so that you can use it anywhere that you like. And I would also appreciate if you could send it to any of the organizations that you work with, and maybe they can reshare, maybe they can use it as well. And obviously, I'm going to push it everywhere on my side and make as many people aware as I can. So between us, between the two of us, we'll do what we can. But yes, for today, keep up the amazing work that you're doing now and always, and keep in touch. And 100% we'll speak again in the future. I look forward to it. Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. I really appreciate for having me as well. And
Absolute pleasure.
let's keep in touch as time goes on. I'll be sharing what I do as time goes on and my progress.
Yes, please keep sharing with me 100%. I would love to hear about it. And the last thing, please take away that you've done a wonderful job as well. Really, really good interview. And I've done more than 480 of these. And so you get used to, like, all different ones. But honestly, I knew it would be good, but it's been better than what I thought. So well done, well done, and everything. You have a great day, and I'll be in touch very soon, and we'll go from there. Okay? God bless you.
Thank you very much, Liam.
Thank you. God
You
bless.
have
Take care.
a great day as well. Enjoy
Thank you.
the hot weather there.
I will. You got to see later on. I'll go for a swim in the sea later, and to cool off a little bit. So, but yeah, speak soon. You take care. Bye bye.
Sure. Thank
Bye
you,
bye.
man.
Best
Yeah,
wishes.
sure. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the Simply Inspired YouTube channel, and there'll be more videos coming soon.